Now, what you might want to do at this stage is to set the various user interface properties. So let me show you how to do that. If you're dealing with HTML controls, in the properties window, you have to use the style attribute. If you single click the ellipses, it brings up the style builder, and the style builder lets you set various different user interface aspects for the selected control. So, for example, we can choose the font family. If I click the ellipses next to font family, I can choose from a list which fonts I want to use, and I can prioritize them so that if the preferred font isn't available, then it will degrade to a secondary font, and so on and so on. So let's choose Arial as our preferred font. And then if I scroll right down to the bottom of the list, and I'm going to search for, just a bit too far, Verdana as the second one. And also you can choose generic fonts as the ultimate fallback. So for example, you can specify sans serif as another font that you can use as the worst case scenario. So that's my font family in order of preference. And if you preferred, you could have chosen a system font. So for example, you could have specified that you wanted to choose the window caption font or the dialog text font. I don't want to do that, so let's just re-click on family. Okay, you can also set the font color. So let's choose maroon. And you can specify italics and small caps and so on. You can choose the size that you want. So here I can choose whether to specify pixels or percentage or points or picas. A pica is 12 points. Or you can choose millimeters and so on and so on and so on. So we'll just go for a font size of 12 points. Now if you preferred, you could have chosen an absolute font size, such as large, or a relative font size, such as larger. So I'll leave you to experiment with that for yourself. And we'll also just finally specify that the font's going to be in bold. There we are. Lovely. What else can we choose? Well, we can set the font background color. So I can choose the background color to be, let me choose a nice color, yellow. Lovely. I can choose it to be a transparent color if I want to. I can specify a background image if I have one, and I want that to be the background image for my control. So there we are, the various other properties you can set as well. All of these you can play with yourself, but let's just leave it there for now. So let's just take a look at the source view, just to see what we've added. Let's scroll down to the source view, and there's our label. If I just go to the beginning of that statement, you can see it's added the style attribute, and these are the various properties that we set in the style property builder. Now, if you prefer, you could have typed all this in yourself manually. Depends how confident you feel with the various bits of syntax here. Okay, let's go back to the design view, and one last control that I'm going to add is a submit button. So let's add a submit button and drag it outside the table. There we go. Let's set its ID to be submit button, and let's just set its value property to be submit. Okay, so we've built the user interface for our web page. Let's just run it before we go any further to see how it works. So on the debug menu, start without debugging. Okay, so I'll enter some details here. My name is Andy, just move the mouse, and my age is 21, and my nationality isn't actually listed here, so I'll say that I'm from Argentina. And my programming languages, I feel okay with Visual Basic and Visual C#, and I'm okay with Java, but not really Visual J#, so I'll leave that one unselected. I'll click the submit button. That's going to cause the data to be submitted to the web page running on the server. We haven't actually written any click handler code yet, so we're not expecting too much to happen. And in fact, nothing much has happened at all. It's wiped out the content of my controls, and it didn't display the results in the text box. So let's close the web page.